So in this video, we have Jon Stewart, who is finally coming to the realization that when it comes to people on the left, the progressives, that when it comes to how they spend money to solve problems that which they create, that at the end of the day, nothing really gets done. Okay, that when the money gets distributed, that the money just goes into corrupt politicians, NGO, these government organizations, and that the problem never gets solved. And the Democrats are really good at this, right? They're really good at coming up with these issues where all right, we need to solve homelessness, right? We need to solve healthcare, we need to solve hunger, okay, education, right? They find these problems and they say, all right, we need to solve these problems. So and the way they do it is, all right, what they'll do is the first step is like create the crisis, right? Like homelessness, hunger, whatever it is, that they'll say, all right, we'll come up with a crisis that they create in the first place. Then the next step is coming up with a solution. And then that solution is usually spending a whole bunch of money, right? If we can spend all this money, we'll create this really big bill, right? Spend trillions of dollars and we'll be able to solve all these problems, okay? And then the next step is the results, okay? And usually with these results, that after all the money is distributed, you have all this money spent, that at the end of the day, nothing gets solved. You still have homelessness, you still have hunger, you still have bad education, you still have poor healthcare. And then they come up with a response like, oh, you know what? We didn't spend enough money. Okay. And then this comes back to Jon Stewart, where he's finally learning, because I think he's speaking with Ezra Klein, and he's going through the step-by-step process of what it takes to make sure how all this money gets distributed after, they get it approved. Okay. And Jon Stewart, at the end of this interview or this discussion, he's left speechless because he's finally come to a realization that, wow, the way the left spends money is just, and you understand why Doge exists, because there's so much corruption and waste and fraud that it makes absolutely no sense that all this money is spent and then at the end of the day nothing gets done. So let's hear what you have to say.
We have to issue the notice of funding opportunity within 180 days. That's step one. Step two, which all 56 state applicants completed, is states who want to participate must submit a letter of intent. After they do that, they can submit a request for up to $5 million in planning grants. Then the NTIA, step four, has to review and approve and award, again, planning grants, not broadband grants, planning grants.
And it's still at the NTIA. It's still at the first step.
All right, so the NTIA must issue a NOFA within 180 days. States who want to participate must submit their letter of intent. Step three, they can request up to $5 million in planning grants.
Just planning.
Just planning. Step four, the requests are reviewed, approved, and awarded by the NTIA, which currently all 56, 3 years later, all 56 applicants had passed through at least step five. It took more than 3 years. So it's a long time. States must submit a 5-year action plan. So the states kind of go back.
So right now he's just going through the idea of like, why are you going through all these steps to just get things done? Like, why is there such a process? And then you understand why one of Trump's plans is to remove red tape. Because when it comes to the government, especially people on the left, they create so much bottleneck. They just create so much issues where in order to get things done, you have to go through the government, that you need permission from the government, right? In order to get things done. And then at the day, nothing gets done because it takes so long. And that's why you look at California when it comes to building homes. People don't want to build homes because the process in which you have to go in order to get things approved takes forever. And that's why when you have Trump come in, he says, I'm going to remove all these regulations so we can get things moving on in the economy. But Democrats do this because they like to have control. Like, in order to get things done, you have to go through them. And that's the way they want it. They want things to be slowed down, that in order to get things done, you have to go through them. They want that power and that control. Okay?
And they kind of think about how they're going to do this. And they don't just say, okay, thank you for the money. We're going to spend it. And you can see how it worked out later. We're like, here's our 5-year action plan. Then the FCC must publish the broadband data maps before NTIA allocates funds. So having done the NOFO, the letters of intent, the request for planning grants, then the review, approval, and awarding of the planning grants, then the 5-year action plans. In between that, the federal government has to put forward a map saying where it thinks we need rural broadband subsidies. And then, of course, the states need an opportunity to challenge the map for accuracy. And you can imagine this doesn't all happen in like a day. Okay. So then the NTIA, step 7, has to use the FCC maps to make allocation decisions. Then, having already done their letter of intent, their request for planning grants, it's hard even to talk about this, man. Step 7 is NTIA must use the FCC maps that were already challenged for allocation decisions. Then, having submitted all this, I think this one is actually quite amazing.
Yeah.
Having submitted their 5-year plans or letters of intent, step 8 is states must submit an initial proposal to the NTIA. Then,
is that the result of their $5 million planning fund? This
I
initial
assume,
proposal?
but then what was the 5-year plan?
And what the fuck did they apply for? What was their NOFO?
Like, if the 5-year action plan isn't the initial proposal, then what's the 5-year action
Forget
plan?
NOFO.
Okay.
MOFO.
Step 9, and
Like, let's think about that. Like, you hear all that, right? You hear all that, and it's just like, I gotta do all this? Is it seriously that complicated in order to just say, because I think what they're talking about is the broadband, like internet, that they were supposed to be put up in California or something like that, and it just never got done. Okay, and it is, why do I have to go through this process in order to do this? Like, I should be able to just say, all right, man, okay, what do I need to do, blah, 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 done, and then start working on it. But the process just takes forever, and they do it intentionally because they don't want anything done. They want to make, they want to be able to just spend money and then say, all right, in order to get this money, you have to go through do X, Y, Z. And then nobody does anything. And then what happens to the money? It goes to all these government organizations, NGOs, people's pockets, and then no one says anything. It's just like the money's spent and it's just gone. And then the problems still exist. It's like think about that. It's like, that's what Jon Stewart was going through. It's like, it's like, my God, if people just really understood, this is what the plan, this is what the liberals, the progressives do. This is what they do. This is their process. Make things difficult.
NTIA must review and approve each state's, again, initial proposal. By my read, we have had at least 2 initial proposals here, but that's a different issue.
Oh my God.
Step 10, states must publish their own map and allow internal challenges to their own map. So the government has published a map. They have invited the states to challenge the map. Then states have submitted initial proposals, and they then have to publish their own map and allow challenges.
Wait, who's challenging it within the state?
Well, organized interest groups, environmental groups, like I don't know who specifically, but literally anybody. This is,
right.
I want to say something because it's very important I say this. This is the Biden administration's process for its own bill. They wanted this to happen. This is how liberal government works now.
This is something they instituted for this bill.
For their bill. This is a bill passed by Democrats with a regulatory structure written by Democratic administration. Okay.
Right.
Step 11. The NTIA must review and improve the challenge results and the final map. So the NTIA has put forward a map. The states have challenged that map. Then the states have put forward their maps, had other challenges. And now the NTIA must review and approve the challenges to the state maps. Okay. So we've done step 11, NTIA must review and approve challenge results and final map. We've lost 9 of the applicants at that point. Step 12, states must run a competitive sub-granting process.
Oh my fucking God. At step 12, after all this has been done.
Yeah, none of that could have happened along the way here. We have now lost 17 more applicants. So now 30 of 56.
So you can see how quickly people are dropping off because it's just like nobody wants to deal with the process. Like, it just takes too long, and it gets to a point where you're just like, you know what? I'm not doing it. So that's what he's that's what he's talking about.
Have completed step 12. Step 13, states must submit a final proposal. All the proposals weren't enough to NTIA. Now that goes to 3 of 56. So we've gone in the last couple steps from 56 had gone to this point to 3 of 56. Step 14, the NTIA must review and approve the state's final proposal. And that is 3 of the 56 jurisdictions and states are there. In summary, states are nearly at the finish line. And it says to stop their progress now, or worse, to make them go backwards, would be a stick in the spokes of the most promising broadband deployment plans we have ever seen. End scene.
I'm speechless, Ezra. Honestly, like, it's far worse than I could have imagined. But the fact that they amputated their own legs on this is what's so stunning.
And this is the thing, like, I don't. A lot of these people that support, Democrats, the left, like, they truly don't understand what they're supporting, right? Because Democrats are really good at, putting, they like to say, we're helping people, like, we want to help. Like I said, they come up with these problems that, of course, like, who's going to be against solving homelessness, hunger, education, right? Healthcare. Like, no one's going to be against solving these problems. And this is how they throw these things at the voters. And the voters just eat this up. Like, this is why the Republicans are evil, because they don't want to help homeless people. But that's not what it is. Like, the Republicans understand that the games that the Democrats play in terms of how they want to spend money is that they really, truly don't want to solve these problems. They want these problems to always exist, because then it gives them a reason to spend more money. That is their goal. Find a crisis to spend the money. And therefore, once the money is spent, then they can distribute it to their peoples, their corruption. That's their purpose. Their purpose is not to solve the problem. And I wish, like, if you could just tell a lot of these progressive voters, left-wing voters, Democrats, look at, man, go on YouTube, watch an hour. You maybe less than an hour. Just go to Tom, just type in Thomas Sowell, right, and then YouTube on the search button, and within an hour, you'll learn everything you need to know when it comes to the left. Everything you need to know, and you'll learn and understand. He breaks it down very simply that their goal is not to help. Their goal is to steal your money. And this is why Doge is so important. And this is why he's finding so much fraud. Okay? Because this is what happens. They print the money, and then the money goes nowhere. And then at the end of the day, nothing is solved. The problems still exist. The crisis still exists. And then their solution is to print more money. Like, we need more money. That's why if we had more money, then we could have solved the problem. And when in reality, you said, no, y'all just clearly just bad at how to use the money. And this is what their goal. This is what they do. And Jon Stewart is, like, hopefully coming to the realization, like, yo, damn, these people are really bad. So hopefully this is a step forward, a step in the right direction when it comes to really understanding who the Democrats are. Like, they're not to help. They don't care about homelessness. They don't care about bad education. They don't care about, crime. They don't care about these things. They just really don't, So yeah, those are my thoughts. Interested to hear your thoughts. Make sure to leave a comment down below, hit the like button, share, and if you haven't done so already, please make sure to subscribe. Right, so guys, take care and have a good one. Later.